Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to this most certifiable broken elite spec that I have ever seen. Well, it's definitely good competition against Scourge and Firebrand for just how many things this does and how powerful this is right now. Before we get into the actual weapons, traits, utilities, I gotta say, everybody's saying that Harbinger didn't seem that exciting, or the Harbinger didn't seem powerful, or the trade-off wasn't enough. You, my good fellow Tyrians, might have just been wrong. This spec does so much damage and so much torment damage, which is yet another reason why I think that they will need to possibly remove a lot of the torment on this spec and maybe go over and change the conditions to vulnerability, weakness, and poison. But that's not here. We'll be leaving that part for the very end of the video. But I want to go over the build that I'm currently running in PvE environments. So I'm running Grieving, full Grieving, and the Doliac rune is just the standard rune that we got. I'm using some actual Valkyrie on my accessories, so putting a little bit more vitality into this build. Power, vitality, and ferocity. So here we are, Grieving, some Valkyrie, and then on my weapon swap, I'm actually using Dagger Warhorn. So don't forget, weapon swap can be a very important part to any elite specialization. So with this, you're gonna get a lot of extra sustain and stuns. And even on the Warhorn, I put some healing power, just to bump it up a little bit, just to give myself a little bit more healing, which isn't that much, but I thought I'd go for it anyways. So for this build in PvE, I'm running Spite, Soul Reaping, and Harbinger. For Spite, I've decided to go with Spiteful Talisman. Deal increased strike damage to foes with no boons. This is 10% extra. Awaken the Pain. Might grants you more power and less condition damage. Gain might when entering Shroud. And then finally, Close to Death. Deal increased strike damage to enemies below the health threshold, 20%, so it's basically 30% increased damage here. Next, I'm taking Unyielding Blast for vulnerability, Vital Persistence for that good vitality, and increased incoming healing, which this trait, in conjunction with this spec, is absolutely insane. And then I'm taking Death Perception. Critical chances have been increased by 33% and more ferocity. For Harbinger, I don't have to just decide to take more vitality because it's there. And then with all the vitality and stuff, I'm at 30,000 health. I'm not kidding you, 30,000. So Septic Corruption, this is my condition damage because I do want to go with a bit of the grieving stuff. I'm dealing increased condition damage for each stack of Blight that I have, and my Shroud skill 2 does poison. Next, I'm taking Dark Gunslinger. Pistol skills gain reduced recharge and gain expertise. This helps out with vulnerability and weakness and poison as well. So this is still good, even with the grieving stuff and the torment, I know, but there's another aspect of this that I feel like a lot of power players forget about. Expertise still affects those non-damaging conditions, but the recharge is absolutely wonderful. And then finally, I'm taking Cascading Corruption. This increases my power by a bit more and pulses damage and cripple. So let's fight. Let's go and fight some people. This build is insane. It's ludicrous. I'm gonna get that speed boost mushroom because, you know, even more power. So, I'm also taking all the elixirs. Just look at how fast this person melts. I'm just auto-attacking and done. It's a Shadow Leaper, just dead. So, for the elixirs, I have to say they are still a little bit boring, just because it's not necessarily my playstyle to just spam a bunch of boons on myself. I would have liked a little bit more flavor to the Necromancer's elixirs, but they are very powerful. And I think the one thing about the elixirs that I enjoy is the Blight mechanic. The Blight on the elixirs maintains itself for 25 seconds, which is quite a commitment, I will say. So that is one good thing about Blight on the elixirs. But for the most part, I don't think about Blight. And I think that's kind of where the spec falters. A lot of people were saying, but it's a trade-off. I don't care about Blight when playing this class right now. I don't. Because everything is so strong, you kill things. Okay, but the stability could be useful, so you don't have a lot of stab. Oh my god. I might have actually pulled too many people. So just don't try to pull a lot of people and you should be fine. But for the most part, I don't really feel too bad playing this spec. I still feel very tanky, especially with the increased and passive healing, which is straight up like 600, 700. So you're gonna get a lot out of this. Let's just do some vital draw here and just get some more heals. The passive healing is what really makes you very tanky. And if you choose not to go into Harbinger Shroud at all, you won't have to worry about dying. Even now, I would have expected to go down to really fulfill that playstyle, even with all these stacks of Torment, the knockdowns. But to be honest, I'm not going down because I have so much passive healing and because I have so many boons and so much damage. But if you're very new to the game and the combat in general, you will still have some trouble. I mean, you could have trouble with any elite spec or class if you are new to Guild Wars 2's combat. But for me, and for a lot of other people who have played this game and have a solid grasp on the combat and the dodge and watching out for telegraphs and stuff, I don't feel like there's much of a trade-off with this spec. You just get a lot of damage. I'm just gonna basically just spam that. And then I'm gonna sit in Harbinger Shroud and look at how much I do. All that Vuln, all that Torment, all this Smite stacking, it's gonna be wild. And then the poison, I didn't even get to because it died. But I have to say, despite me going on and on about the power of the condition damage aspect of this and the power aspect of this class is a lot of fun. It is. It's been a blast to play, especially in PvP. And because you're ranged and because when you're strategic about your movement, you might not get hit a lot, you can do so much with this class. You can get so much value out of playing a Harbinger in ranged. Let me just start smacking them. Oh my god, I need to get a good skill 2 off because that skill 2 is insane. So these guys over here, let's just spam 2. We're gonna get Torment and Poison on that. Look at all of that. I mean, the condition damage for someone playing on Grieving, we're getting 1,000 ticks of Torment for people and for players and enemies who don't move, which over time stacks up, and this is a veteran. Let's see how the Harbinger deals with a Vine Tooth. I'm gonna stack Blight on me just to have a little bit more of that reduced health threshold while still being at 21,000 health, which is insane. I'm gonna pop Vital Draw, which gives me even more vitality, Life Force, and just start auto-attacking. I'm gonna hit 25 stacks of Blight, so that means I'm at 18. Well, now it's kind of ticking off me very, very quickly. But I'm back up to 18,000 health. That the Harbinger Shroud Blight does maintain for 25 seconds per stack. I like that. I wouldn't even mind this actually being 30 seconds. If the Harbinger Shroud was 30 seconds of Blight, while the elixirs maintained at 25 seconds of Blight, I feel like that would be maybe a little bit better. Because the Blight from Harbinger Shroud, when you look at everything, I don't think it's like that much of a trade-off. But running with this build has made a lot of things feel non-threatening. And this isn't even a self-sustained build. Because of the Harbinger Shroud's passive heal tick, which I will actually show off because it's insane. I'm getting like 1,000 healing per second. You don't necessarily need to feel scared. Plus, you can take things like Spectral Armor do take reduced damage while maintaining your heal. Let's just do some damage. 740, 740. 908, 907, 908. Almost 1,000 healing. Put a little bit of extra healing power on this, and you're going to be regenning so much. Someone puts regen on you. That's 900 plus, 150 up to like 300 regen, depending on the build. You have a lot of great self-sustain on this build. And I think that trade-off isn't as great. There really isn't a trade-off because people, especially in PvP, could never go into Harbinger Shroud because despite how strong it is, your pistol and elixir skills are strong enough. This is a really easy class if you never go into Harbinger Shroud, so long as you're not pulling 5 enemies that can CC chain you. But I would say that Harbinger, I thought, would be a little bit more challenging for players who were perhaps new, and of course they could be, and this is from a veteran standpoint, but from your passive health regeneration and the boon access you have and the range damage that you have, I think Harbinger could still be a really solid, like, beginner elite spec. Just, you know, maybe pop into Harbinger Shroud and do a couple attacks and then pop back out. Like, let's just take this 2, for example. Let me pop my elite. We haven't even talked about the elite. The elite. You pop the elite, you get all the boons, and we're gonna just start going, we're gonna go ham. Look at that. Just done. Gonna move. Elixir of Promise to gain some more vigor so you can dodge more. Also, it generates your life force, which gives you that heal over time aspect to it. It's just a whole lot. I would not mind seeing the Torment go away, especially on the auto attack and the skill 2. I think the skill 2 should just apply poison. And I think Torment could be a little bit too strong. Especially when you compare it with Scourge. Scourge kind of fills that Torment slot. I still want Scourge to be viable and useful in certain situations and not just be completely forgotten because of the Harbinger. Also, when you look at its projectiles, when the projectile explodes, it gives off that noxious poison cloud. Yet this applies Torment and not poison. So that's a little strange. It's a little weird. Things are a little... There's a disturbance of the force. And even here, it's all poison, but it doesn't necessarily do poison unless you're traded with it. But you guys, there is so much to the Harbinger. There's so many builds, and I think that's what I'm really excited to see with the Harbinger. You can do something a bit more tanky. You can do something a bit more self-healing. You can be focused on your boon application of boons to allies, power-focused, crit-focused. You can do so much with the Harbinger, which is why I'm scared that it's going to start feeling like Path of Fire's elite specs at launch. Path of Fire was so strong, and yes, was it fun? For a time, until we started to see that the balance was actually really unhealthy. And I think Harbinger is spearheading that more than Willbreaker, more than Virtuoso, which I thought Willbender was going to do that, but no. And the reason I liked Willbender, and I will get to that video coming up very soon. I like Willbender because you have a lot of mobility, but you have to actually nail your attacks to build up your damage over time to fulfill that high spike damage. With Harbinger, it's such easy access to such high damage and condition application that the decrease in your health pool isn't that much of a worry because I have 30,000 health thanks to these traits. You get 30,000 health. And then your passive healing is 20% increased because of this passive tick. Oh, this incoming healing could refer to other players. It might not just be yourself. This passive heal could just be like how much it heals for, which is even stronger. But put healing power on that, put some toughness and vitality on this, and you're going to be a bruiser on the node. Oh, in PvE, what I would like to see is Vicious Shot remove its Torment, but instead apply like a second of weakness on its bounce to allow you to maybe feel a little bit more self-sustain or give a little bit more glancing blows to enemies in PvE who get up close to you and start melee damaging you. I would like that. Weeping Shots, I think this should apply 6 stacks of vulnerability and poison on crit. While Vile Blast, I think this is a perfectly fine skill. I wouldn't even be surprised if they increased the cooldown on this just like a couple seconds. But I think the Torment application is a bit too strong. When it comes to Harbinger Shroud, let me just drink some potions real quick to gain a little bit more life force. I think that Torment should be removed. I think Dark Barrage should apply poison, but I actually like that Devouring Cut does apply Torment. And if Devouring Cut applied its Torment, I think the Torment stacks for Devouring Cut could be raised to 2 stacks, because you are getting some of that Torment away from you. So if 2 stacks were on Devouring Cut, that would feel a little bit better. Voracious Arc is really nice, and so is Vital Draw. I think those skills are perfectly fine. If you wanted to specialize and do a little bit more condition damage and an array of conditions, Approaching Doom could allow you to kind of put more Torment on the build. But overall, all 3 of these traits do the same thing. I've said this before. I think Cascading Corruption should not be a pulsing AoE, but a bit of a stronger spike when you leave Harbinger Shroud. Just for the final hurrah. And maybe it could like scale even more based off of the Blight, but again, Wicked Corruption already kind of does that. But those will kind of be my suggestions. At the end of these videos, I give a little bit of my suggestive feedbacks. So thank you everyone so much for coming by. This was the Harbinger, absolutely crazy. possibly overtuned, overpowered. But thank you everyone so much for coming. I have links down below because I'm an official ArenaNet partner, which means you can pre-order End of Dragons, buy the existing expansions, and try Guild Wars 2 for free. If you liked what you saw, subscribe, like, comment, and become a patron if you'd like. Get exclusive access, early access, and some Discord channels. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye everyone!